You're listening to Divas 2 Radio. Real talk for real people.
And that seems to be an appropriate tune to bring us into seasons. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning, Miss Fran.
How are you?
I am just doing fine. The spirit is with me, wisdom, and I'm glad she's arrived.
Yes, exactly.
And you know she is. Wisdom is a woman. And they say in the scriptures that wisdom was with God when the earth was created.
Careful
so
now.
That enters the woman.
Careful now.
That enters what we are. We are women.
Exactly. You know, and no one wants to really hear us roar. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. They don't
that?
want to hear any roaring. They better change the channel right now because we are going to roar this morning.
Yes. We're going to talk about the burning times. And a lot of people call it fiction, but we know now that what happened in Europe in the Middle Ages was very true. And it did spill over into America in the northern regions. The burning times, first of all, when you hear burning times and you look it up on the internet, when you Google it, go ahead and Google burning times. What you're going to see first are snippets of a film that was made back in 1990, and it was well done. It was done by women, and they talked about the hardships and critical conditions that the burning times brought to their doorsteps. A lot of women were killed. In fact, the burning times has also been referred to as the woman's Holocaust.
Wow.
Yeah.
A Holocaust.
Yeah.
Mm. And what year was this? What year are we talking about?
This is like from between the 1400s and the 1800s.
Wow.
That time period.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they said was persecution was the worst between 1550 and 1650.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they said now the numbers on how many were lost. You know, now it wasn't only women who were persecuted. There were men too, but 80% of those who were persecuted and burned at the stake or killed in some other horrific way were women. You know, and
what is the reason behind the persecution?
Oh well,
was it because?
No, I tell you what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Because I know I could talk about this forever, but I was fortunate and I ran up on a clip of the burning times.
Oh, great.
Okay, and it's about 10 minutes, and it's worth listening to.
Oh,
so I'm gonna play the clip, and it's actually from the burning times. I converted it from video to audio, so little pauses of music. That's because it is video originally, but it gives you a great insight, an immediate insight into what the burning times were all about. And this is from the actual documentary, Burning Times. I'm going to play it now, Vern.
Thank you. Oh.
You're welcome.
root wig, which means to bend or shape consciousness, and thus to bend or shape events in your life. Essentially, it is the remnants in the West of the old shamanic traditions, the traditions of developing within yourself altered states of consciousness without using drugs or without, using chemicals, but through meditation and through very, very simple methods like chanting, like singing together.
Starhawk is a modern witch. She's here with people from all over North America to celebrate the summer solstice. New pagans feel that they are returning to a pre-Christian tradition that honors both women and nature. Starhawk also lectures at this Catholic college in California. Among her colleagues is Dominican Father Matthew Fox.
What strikes me is the vehemence of the letters I received, the hate mail, regarding having a witch on our faculty. I thought that the burning of witches was settled several centuries ago, but people, right, when they sign it, a good Christian, an ecumenical Christian, they say, you and your witch friend can burn in hell forever. And it's just amazing what this brings up, that there's a lot of buried material in a lot of Christians' lives.
This cross was erected in Trier, France, in 1132. It was a sign of the times, the symbol of a new religious cult that was sweeping across pagan Europe. Few people realized that the Christianization of Europe resulted in the loss of millions of lives. The Church of Rome set up the Inquisition to enforce its will. People who criticized the Church or held different beliefs were charged with heresy and executed as criminals. In 1554, Marianne Monjou was drowned for calling it the spirits of the Rhine. For this is barbaric and an obscene right of the people, said Abbot Petrarch. Out of those religious persecutions came the witch hunts. 85% of those killed for the crime of witchcraft were women. Between the 15th and 17th centuries, thousands were burned in squares like this all over Europe.
We're never told this, but this was the women's Holocaust. We did have a women's Holocaust, and this was it. In terms of how many women were burned, it's very hard to get numbers. The high number that people use is 9 million over 300 or more years. So that there were huge, huge numbers of people who were burned and people who were killed by the Inquisition.
They left no written records. They shared no common grave. They took with them their stories, their beliefs, and the traditions of our pagan ancestors. The witch craze involved the destruction of a way of life that had endured for thousands of years. In villages all over feudal Europe, women and men worked side by side. Theirs was a religion of rural life and changing seasons, of oral traditions and beliefs passed on within families. We still call the earth our mother, a memory of the goddess traditions of our pagan past. For generations, people have climbed this hill in England to celebrate the arrival of spring. It's May Day, and the Morris men are waking up the earth with their staves and bells. Once, long ago, the Queen of the May presided over the celebration. Rituals like this one were part of the religious practices of the majority of people in Europe until at least 1700. They were among the traditions targeted as witchcraft.
What's really important to think about when you think about goddess religions and when you think about pagan religions is that most pagan people lived on a particular part of the land. They had ceremonies and traditions and goddesses that were appropriate, and gods that were appropriate to them at a certain time. They made their rituals and their celebrations as things that were important because they were part of life experience. They helped the crops grow, they helped the animals come in, they helped talk about the relationship of the moon and the stars and the planets, and they really didn't have a lot to do with beliefs. They are based on action, experience, celebration, custom.
With the arrival of Christianity, belief became a way of life. Everywhere in Europe, churches were built over pagan shrines, and goddesses were turned into saints. Before the Christians came, people walked to a remote village in France to worship this Celtic goddess. Even after she was renamed Saint Foy, she was said to dispense healing to thousands of pilgrims, just as all mother goddesses in the past had done. But while the Christian Church allowed for saints, it offered no divine goddess to adore. The newly converted pagans found one of their own and demanded that she be recognized.
There's no question that in the Middle Ages, Mary was understood as a goddess figure. This is explicit in the writings of Mechtilde Magdeburg, a 13th century Beguine laywoman, who in fact ended her life as a nun, very politically active woman, kept a journal, which we have today, and several times in that journal she calls Mary goddess. And she was attacked by many of the clergy for saying that, but she never took it back. Furthermore, was that within 100 years, over 500 churches the size of cathedrals were constructed all over Europe, like Chartres Cathedral. And every one of them was dedicated to Mary. Now, you have to meditate on the phenomenon of this. You know, what can get a whole civilization, a whole people, to bring together its laborers, its artists, its bishops, its financiers, its architects, everybody to do one thing over a 100-year period.
To this day, Mary still bears the names of her pagan ancestors: Queen of Heaven, Lady of the World, Mother of God.
We can see that there were two kinds of religion. There was the religion of the elite, the formal Catholic church religion. And then there was the popular religion of the ordinary people who were by far the overwhelming majority of people in France. And their religion was still full of the old religion, the goddess.
All right, I thought I would play that clip. Brenda, what did you think?
Well, there's a lot to absorb there, Fran.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot more to that. Hold on for a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on. We're bringing someone in.
Okay.
Good morning, Cherie.
Hello, ladies.
Hi. Didn't want to leave you sitting out there. Brenda, what were you saying?
I was saying that you were always, harking back to the ancestors. You're always reminding of our roots, and it's important. It's important. The thing that there's something that bothers me. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. What bothers me is that we do need to understand where we came from, but there's many people who don't even know where we are right now, Fran.
Exactly.
I like looking at the whole tree. I like looking at the roots. I like looking at the ancestors. But the pain and the suffering is hard for us to because I heard that. I heard that. I heard that wound that's inside of us. I heard that on that tape.
Exactly.
I understand the word Holocaust, and that means something really bad. That means the whole. That affected so many. I think they said 9 million, but they don't really have the numbers.
No, they don't have the numbers. But since that investigation started, and the documentary was done in 1990, and there have been quite a few people worldwide who have since then dug into this and found documents and statistics and what have you, and they have reduced the number to close to like 100,000. But see, the jury is still out on that.
Well,
even if it was one, it was too many.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. You and I have talked about this on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
When we talked about where we came from, me and you both, the pains that we've suffered by just having our belief systems.
Exactly.
And we have those belief systems not just because we're a woman, but we have those belief systems because we're intellectual. Okay.
Okay.
We talked about that on our first program, how intellect comes into play here.
Exactly.
And we have understanding because we have intellect. And the way society looks now, the community that we live in now, it's lacking in intelligence. Lacking.
Very much so. Very much so.
I use that word.
Well.
Because, I hear so many people who are lacking in common sense and can't even go beyond that point. So they're living their lives without any intelligence, nor they have no resources. And we can go back and we say, oh, it's there for them. It's available. But I think because in the consciousness, I'm going to go back to that, looking at the story that you just told us, which is not really a story. It happened. This happened.
Yeah.
But how many people are going to say, okay, I'm going to become aware of this? Am I going to research this? Am I going to have some compassion for this? When we see people who say, oh, that's just, that's a story, that couldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, it's dismissed. Okay, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
Exactly.
I didn't hear that.
Exactly.
And
however,
that just gets rid of it right there. I didn't hear it. Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
But this is how I look at it. We will present it, and if there's one who says, I need to look at this a little more closely, we've done our job.
Well, you and I have always spoke of this. Always the one.
Always one.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's reaching out to thousands and millions and making that big change. But with the one, that will make a change.
Exactly.
With the one, and we're secure in that, aren't we?
Mhm.
We're secure in that because it was first you, and then it became me.
Mhm.
And then Sherry's there too. There's three right there.
That's three.
Hey, Sherry.
Yeah,
so you
exactly.
see, the one became the three, and then the three becomes the four, and so forth.
You know, it's an excellent. I chose it because Burning Times is an excellent focal point on the women's so-called place on the face of this earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. You know, it gives you pause for thought. You know, the Burning Times is history, yes, but does that same mindset exist? Yes, and it exists. I'm not singling out the United States. Oh no, I'm talking about around the world.
Exactly. This is a worldwide phenomena of the consciousness, how we have been treated.
Exactly.
And to hear about it in that tape, and to actually understand, you know, I think that anybody listening, I think what you need to do first is kind of swish it around. This is the way I tell people. When something new comes to you that you don't understand, you know, put it in your mouth, swish it around, and see if it really hits you, you know, somewhere that you've been a woman and you've been persecuted. And you have.
Yeah.
And I have. You have. Cherie, have you?
Yeah.
Because of being a woman, but also your belief system.
Now,
Okay.
if anyone out there who listened to that 10-minute excerpt, as I said, I converted it from video to audio to play it for you. But you can go to YouTube, and it's in 6 parts, and just put in the Burning Times, and it's about an hour. Okay, 10 minutes per section of episode, and it's worth the hour and a couple of minutes over to go through that documentary.
Oh, I agree with that.
It really is.
I agree that we need to. This show is about Mother Earth, and this show is about the mother in all of us, and the woman part of us, and how we came to be. You know, when we look at our ancestors, look at the struggle. I mean, we can just start in this century, the struggle of women to stand up in Congress or to stand up in front of a man in a job situation. We are still facing this over-dominance of men. We're still facing it.
It went from matriarchal to patriarchal.
Exactly.
You know,
and tell
male
what those
dominance.
2 words mean, because
matriarchal, female, feminine, society, not rulership but counselship, and patriarchal is male.
Okay.
And it is amazing how it goes. It is amazing that it still exists on that level. Like I said, women have been persecuted and are continuously being persecuted around the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sharia law in Islam is not practiced by every sect. It's not practiced by all of Islam. Let's get that straight. Okay? But it is practiced by some groups. And Sharia law is very harsh on women. We're talking about the stoning of women. We're talking about the beheading of women for little things. A woman can get raped and then she can get killed for being raped. This is today. This is not.
This is today. This is yeah, exactly. So it's still with us, and it's with us, and it. You know, I want to talk about cover-ups, okay?
Okay.
I think that the reason we cover anything and hide things is the shame, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, that's kind of leading to where God's kind of been talking to me about shame. Now, shame, I don't know, did you want me to start talking about a little bit of why we cover this up?
I want you to do what you feel needed.
Okay, well, shame, as I wrote this morning, shame is a program entered into your brain at an early age before you can learn to reject it. That's my first sentence.
Wow.
That's my first sentence. And this is what I call automatic writing. As the spirit of me, the woman spirit in me came out with this morning, actually, because I have been paying more attention to it since Fran introduced me to Mother Earth. I mean, I had thought about Mother Earth, but I didn't know Mother Earth needed attention. But she does. She does. Okay?
Badly.
And so that's why Fran and I and Cherie decided that seasons was the way to go. So the next sentence starts out, remember this one sentence, you ought to be ashamed. These words were told to you by many adults in your life as a way to control you. Now, when I was talking about adults, I was talking about school teachers, church leaders, everyone. And I will tell you, they probably would say this more to a woman than a man. You ought to be ashamed. I don't know. Has someone said that to you in your programming, Miss Fran? What happened to Fran?
Well, she's got to be still there, so I know,
Oh, you're there, Cherie.
I'm here, though.
Cherie, do you remember anyone saying you ought to be ashamed? What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone said that to you,
Yeah.
Fran.
I've heard that.
Okay.
You keep going out. You keep going out.
You're going out. You're cutting out, Fran. Okay. The next sentence is, you thought these words, you thought about the words, you ought to be ashamed. You felt that must mean you made a mistake or a choice that caused shame on you or your family in some way. So whatever you did, you felt this word and this program called shame. But you were not sure. So
Brenda,
you just, yes,
I need to tell you this really quickly.
Go ahead.
I got kicked out of my own show.
And
I'm having all kinds of difficulties, and I don't know. So if it gets silent on my end, just continue. Evidently, I'm not supposed to speak this morning, so continue.
Dear, I understand. But you were not so sure, how to avoid causing shame. Now, as humans, we are not in a perfect state of making correct choices. It's usually a hit or miss in most cases. When you make a choice, you don't know if it's the right one or the wrong one. So there will be occurrences of shame that will arise in your life, because you made a wrong choice. Now, we can see where embarrassment comes from. We're trying to make a choice about doing something important in our lives.
Yeah.
Okay. And our thoughts. Now, let's go back to this shame program. We've become confused and seek outside help because we don't. Wait a second.
Are you okay?
Yeah, a little bit of tech problems. Okay.
Yeah, you too. Now your turn. Now it's your turn.
Okay, so there will be occurrences of shame that will arise in your life. So now we can see where embarrassment comes from. Okay, because you're afraid shame is going to come. So what you do is you back off, or you become persecuted because of your beliefs, going back to that situation. So you see, there's a negative and positive to every program in our brain. To be ashamed is a negative. But to understand what shame is in positive, I want to tell you that because a lot of people don't know that shame can stop you from doing certain things. Now I want to talk to you, to bring something to you. Goodness gracious.
You too, huh?
I've never seen. Okay, here we go. They don't want me to say this. A woman who is raped will often go into shame and hide her feelings because she feels she ought to be ashamed for her actions or appearances and blames herself for the rape. To bring her out of this program, much work is needed to help with shame. She is feeling that she's brought guilt on herself, on her family and friends. So the occurrence of the physical attack of rape has occurred. Our world sees this attack in many ways. We really need to see both sides of such an action. We're so judgmental of both actions of the people involved in any type of action that we can't see the forest for the trees. We are playing the blame game. We have forgotten we will face some of the same things in our lives, and we will need to adjust our programs to see that casting stones is not the proper way to handle this situation. To say not to judge is not helping us at all. We say to ourselves, well, they should have known better. I wouldn't have placed myself in that condition or that place. But that is not true. We have all found ourselves in the wrong place at the wrong time. You see, shame and embarrassment come forward and keep us straight and prevent us from being connected to this person. We are unaware of the connections we have to this problem and need to reboot and renew our brains to what controls us to act and react in every situation. We are ready to point fingers and rub fingers in shame. Shame on you. You brought shame on me. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. The echoes of past programming. If you find yourself embarrassed to ask for a new job or extra pay or even a helping hand, shame on you. Don't let shame or pride stand in your way of your progress and letting go and letting God. Brenda, November 13th, 2012.
Wow, that was deep.
Yeah. And I had to read it because as I was writing, I didn't know what was going to come out.
And shame has been used just like guilt. It's all the same, just about.
Yes.
And women have always borne the brunt of shame.
Okay.
We do.
Why is the answer is that we've been programmed.
Exactly.
That is
we
the
have
answer.
Been programmed.
We've
been programmed for dominance,
right.
So that we can be dominated. Now, why would you want to suppress the other half of nature itself?
Okay.
That's a question.
I know it's a question. I'm getting feedback.
Oh, okay.
The answer to why is what I wrote about yesterday. Actually, because I've had many clients and many people come to me and say, Brenda, can you tell me why? I'm not going to go into the reading of all the answers to why. And I'm not going to wait until I arrive in heaven to sit with someone and tell me why.
Why?
Not going to do that. The answers to why are coming out today as you played that tape. That's one answer to why.
Mm-hmm. There are many more.
There are many more, and we're going to bring forth that because walking in wisdom and understanding and intelligence will answer your question to why.
Exactly.
Because if you become ignorant, you will always have the question why. If you don't research, if you don't seek the truth, you are always going to be walking around saying, why did this happen to me? Why is this happening to me? So get with it, ladies. Get rid of women. Listen to our show. Okay, that's
exactly.
it. Promo
But
time.
you know what? But actually, you really are. You're right. You're right. We have been programmed. We have been programmed, and you can see it every day. The burning times are still with us, and it's not our bodies. Well, let me take a few steps back. Under some cultures and some situations in the world, we're still being physically killed, but on an overall level, we are being spiritually dominated and held.
Okay. And the physical is the last conquest, my darling.
Is to open our eyes,
right?
Look around, and you'll see why. You'll understand why. Why is that? There has always been a fear of women. Women have always played or held the crown of evil, even in the Bible. You know, we're supposed to be in the situation we're in because.
Okay.
Taken away again.
Oh.
Sherry.
Hello? Yes.
I guess it's your time to talk.
We're in this situation. I guess I could pick up where she left off. We're in this situation because basically the men hold the pen. You know what I'm saying? They right. And I was telling a friend the other day that and she just realized it herself. She was like, "Oh, you're right. It does say history, and that thing is his story. It's the way he writes it." But it's,
his story. That's right.
Yeah,
his story, not her story. That's right. And
so
we have been writing. We have been doing things, and not that we're looking for the credit, but we are there, and we are still here, and we're not going anywhere. They may have tried to. Yes, Fran. We can hear you, Fran. Fran? Oh,
am I still there?
Yeah, you're here.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, she brought up the word history. His story, not her story, which is very important, that we have her story.
Exactly.
Still having technical problems on that end?
Yeah, I mean, I got kicked out of the show again.
Well, we understand.
Right at the point that when I wanted to make,
yes,
it just took me completely out.
Well, we understand. There are possibly some men at the control board. Hello, fellas. I'm going to be Mae West. Come on up and see me sometime, sugar.
No, I actually got to talk to Mae. I got to talk
to Mae?
Yeah. Do that. I got to talk to Mae West back in 1977. The first time I came out to California with Diane.
Oh my!
And I was looking in the phone book and I found her name and her phone number.
Wow!
And I called it. And a guy answered, and I asked, could I speak to Miss Mae West? And the next thing I know, Mae West was on the phone. And she gave me the conversation of a lifetime.
I bet she did.
She did. She said,
yeah, that was a woman.
And she said, she told me to know who you are and to know who you have. You know, and it's all about going your way. You know. You know, I mean, and when I think about it, and it comes to me from time to time, and I have to smile. It was like an education. You know, she was goddess oriented. This lady, you know,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And she, on one level, is food for thought and steps to follow, because she was confident in being a woman. And she knew all the magic of women. And she used it to her advantage, and she ruled. And that's one of the things that she told me. All women rule. And they're going to try to deceive you and make you think that you don't, but you do. And I talked to her for about 31 minutes.
That's the one thing.
Huh?
That's the one thing that I don't understand, because you about sitting there talking to my sister, and she was telling me about, we have to do this because she was at Salafi. Islam, Muslim.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't understand it. What's the problem? And I said, why? I said, common sense will tell you. Okay, they want you covered up because they don't want you to be seen. I'm like, hello. I mean, the fact that you're covered up, you're being right. I mean, it's like a spotlight on you. Like,
now here's the rub in that. Having asked about that years ago, they asked women to cover because. Are you ready for this? They asked women to cover so that they will not, not so much intimidate, but because man is weak and this, that, and the other, and
exactly.
That's man's problem.
That's man's problem.
So covering up like that does not help you. You have to exercise your control. Me and the mom got into it. We got into it. I said, you do not expect that of me. Why would you expect your weakness and I get punished?
It's interesting about the cover. Yes.
It was because it was a situation she was telling me. Okay, she's covered up, right? Yeah. And the guy, I guess she was supposed to be married to him. I'm not sure about the whole situation of that thing, but he told her, "You're gonna have to wear sunglasses." And I was like, why are you gonna have to wear sunglasses? He said because my eyes, because this my eyes and stuff. I said, now whose problem is that? I said, that's not your problem. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're already covered up from head to toe. That's not your problem. I was like, that is just ridiculous. You got to wear sunglasses now on top of everything else? I was like, that is ridiculous. I said, that's one thing I don't like about that. That is like straight control. Everything is controlled. You can't do nothing. You can't do this. That. Basically, it just feels like, okay, you have to sit at home and do nothing all day. I was like, where's the power in that? I was like, I told her, I was like, to me, you just use it as a tool to just rule over you.
Yeah, I understand that. Women have always been trying to be empowered. And we really, like Fran said, we do have control. If you would just look at our society today, there would be no shopping centers, okay? There would be no commerce. Women run and rule this world. And to speak of the election, let's talk about the woman's vote, this particular election.
I think so, too.
Yeah. Women voted.
I'm back.
Women voted more in this election than any election. And the women's vote counted. I don't think Romney understood that. The Republicans are trying to figure it out about the women's and the Latino vote.
Yeah, it definitely did.
He's trying to, the Republicans have been discussing this. Why didn't we concern ourselves with a women's vote? Come on, wake up. We're here. We have arrived. We are empowered now. More women own. More women are in Congress. More women are out of the kitchen working in CEO jobs than ever before. So we are empowered. We have moved. And we're not about to put a cover over us. Any comments? Fran's not with us, Sherry.
Uh-oh. I guess it's the men messing around with her board again.
Do you feel empowered?
Do you remember women?
Okay, she's back.
Women, did she go back out again?
Yep.
Well, I like, sometimes I don't, and sometimes I do feel empowered. But
okay.
Hello?
Fran's cutting in and out.
Usually it's when I'm more confident about my abilities, that I feel empowered. Right. And it's a feeling that I would rather have all the time to feel that way. But,
But you see, now that's your programming. Remember that your brain is going to create what you think, all right? So even in a church setting, How many times have we wanted to speak out, but yet we feel that we can't because women are in a state of you just sit there, you just take your place. And this may happen in a job situation, a church, a school, and women tend to always are put in their place. Have you felt that?
Mhm.
And so the thing is that coming out of that place that men are trying to put over us, a control over us, we have to kind of say to ourselves, I am not going to sit in that place which some man has told me to sit. Well, I have got to empower myself at this moment. And those moments are going to come up when a man is trying to take charge or trying to take control over you. There's going to be times when that's going to happen in your life, in my life, and in a friend's life. And we've all had those times where we could see it happening to us. Have you ever had a man control you?
Yeah.
And how did you break from that?
I was like, enough is enough.
But what came
from it is when he couldn't stand up for me against another man, and the man threatened me. He couldn't stand up. I was like, not to like physically get into.
But that was not really the beginning of his control, Sherry.
No, it wasn't. But just the fact that he wouldn't speak up about it, but he'd tell me to do it.
But I want to tell you something now. Seriously, that was not the real issue. Okay? You may think so. You may think, oh, that was the issue. No, there were issues way before that time period. You see, at a certain point, when you made a choice to choose him, you were very weak at that time, correct?
Yeah.
And you gained your strength through the relationship. You learned a lesson, and then you became more intelligent than him. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's where the problem lies. When she realized that she was more intelligent.
You realized that you were more intelligent, smarter than him, then there's the problem.
Exactly.
And you no longer wanted to be under that control, correct?
Right.
So whatever happened, all the issues that presented themselves, whatever happened, you learned your lesson and you broke from it, and now you are empowered from it, correct?
Yes.
And now when you make a new choice for another relationship, what will you do this time?
I'm not really, got to the point where I don't want that headache anymore. So
you don't want that relationship anymore. But you want a relationship, correct?
Yeah, but I mean, if it's not in the cards, it's not in the cards, and I'm not pushing.
Whoa!
Wait a minute.
Whoa,
what do you mean
Sherry,
if it's not in the
cards?
cards?
Where's this coming from? Sherry, you're going outside of your little spiritual world and you're going to pull a card? Come on, kid. Come to the table here.
Yes.
We're sitting at the table of women, empowerment, strength. You have it inside you, sweetheart. How could you make a wrong decision? You said you learned your lesson, correct?
I learned my lesson, but I learned that's something I'm not ready for. I'm not mature enough for.
Who said that?
I'm not going.
Who's talking?
Me.
What spirit is that?
I mean, it's saying that I need to work on me. I need to work on loving me more.
That is fine. Now, how much are you there?
How much? Back out again.
I went back out. I'm on the phone.
I went out too. Sherry, how much do you need to love yourself?
I need to love myself more than I do sometimes.
Tell me why you don't love. Tell me the answer to why a person doesn't love themselves. Not even you, somebody else. Why doesn't
they're not happy? They're not happy about some aspect of their life.
So what are you not happy about?
That's a real long laundry list.
Ooh. Do you know happy is a state of mind? Do
yes,
you know
it is.
To be happy is to accept happy and to move with it? And we're talking spiritual here. Now, I want to empower you. I want to love you. Will you accept my love, Cherie?
Yeah.
You don't know me. You're going to accept love from me and you don't know me?
Because, well, okay, if you're looking at it that, I mean, I do know you, but I mean.
Would you accept love from Fran?
Yes.
Oh, good. Now, that love that you accept from Fran is the same love that you're supposed to love yourself with.
Exactly.
It's the same love. Because she cares, and she wants to see the best for you, and she wants to have you have a good life, and she wants you to be happy. But if you don't accept that love and give it to yourself and receive it, then you cannot have that kind of love. Will you swish that around a little bit?
I'm trying to.
I like that. Swish that around.
Swish it around. Just swish it around. You know, like we taste a fine wine and we swish it around. I don't know why we do that. I guess we want to taste it. I guess we want to smell it.
Yeah.
We want to swish it around. And let me tell you something, honey. You have it inside you already. But you have people around you that don't believe it. And no one's confirmed it.
And I tell you what, the thing that's most important is that you believe yourself. Regardless of what those around you believe or think they think, because most people do not think, you know who you are. Face who you are and love it. And believe in yourself. And you will find that things will change for you.
And she's thinking just like everybody I've ever told that to. Well, my goodness, that sounds so easy. It's just so easy and simple. I just reject it right now because she just doesn't know the pain I've been through. I'm telling you. Let's have a pity party, Cherie.
Yeah.
Cherie?
I'm still here.
Have you been to a pity party lately? A real bitch session. Have you been to one? Huh? Tell me about the one you were in last week. Come on now. That's up, girl.
Well, I've been going with it's just a whole bunch of crap. I mean, it's inner stuff.
Yeah, a whole bunch of crap.
It's a whole bunch of crap. It's just inner stuff that I know I need to stop, like, convincing myself. Like, and my aunt friend knows that I'm into music, and I've been going to a lot of concerts and doing a lot of things, music-wise, and I go and I sit there and I listen to other people sing or play instruments or whatever they do, and the first thing I do is, like, I cannot be that good. Come on. I can never get So, I mean.
So you are feeling something inside you come up as thought, and that thought is negative, and that thought is stopping you from being who you can be.
Exactly.
And we all have this. Oh, it's called doubt and self. It's called low self-esteem. It's got a lot of fancy words. But here's the thing about it, Cherie. Guess what? You can be saved. We're going to pull you out of there because you have two friends now. You have two friends for life. that are going to be here always in your thought, telling you that you're okay.
Wow.
How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me. That's why I have Fran as a friend.
and it's amazing. It is amazing that you've had this talk. We've had this talk with Shireen, and it's the same talk that every woman needs to have with a friend.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because we have been programmed, you know, for low self-esteem. You know, looking at ourselves as not being able to cut it, not being good enough, not being pretty enough, not being smart enough.
All programs.
It's all programming. It's all programming. When you look at the entertainment field, you know, and look how it operates, and look at what it produces. It was. I'm gonna tell you something. If the hip hop, not so much the hip hop era, but the rap era didn't bring it to the forefront for you, I don't know what will. Rappers used to be in coats and baggy pants and hats and scarves, and the girls would be in little bikinis and this, that, and the other, all in the same shot. You know, because women are marketable. Well, what's marketable? You know, when I say what's marketable, if you're marketable, then you're a commodity.
That's right.
You know, you're not. Women are not commodities. But I must state that is how we are perceived.
That's
as
right. With Miss America and Miss Universe and all of the contestants that walk out there, and the striving for the models to be thin. And here's the thing. With all that they're trying to do to women to make them, what is that word you use? Commoditable? I can't say it. Commodities, whatever. Women are for sale, okay?
Yeah.
Women, if they dress a certain way, means they're for sale.
Exactly.
So we become a product.
That's right, a commodity.
A commodity. Very hard to say. If it's on the stock market, we're out there. Women. I want to buy some of those.
You know, we have had a very difficult technical time this morning. Which we did. We have gotten through it. We've gotten about 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Right. And it is amazing how toward the end the technology has accommodated us. You know.
Well, we started bashing men.
You know,
bashing.
It's not bashing. It's the truth.
Well, you know, the thing about it is, I'm sorry about the word bashing. Men can take this. Men can take it or leave it. I mean, I'm just saying that if we're stepping up to the plate, come on, y'all step up to the plate
too.
Y'all come on. We're going to let y'all come on. And this show, you can call in next week, next Tuesday, and let's hear the men's side.
Exactly.
You know, I know on TV they're always giving the men's side. So we're giving the women's side. So this is equal, okay? All right.
Exactly.
Well, that's it. Bye, Sherry.
Bye, guys.
Bye, friend.